this is a frightening development. NASA moon breakthrough. They found living bugs on Apollo equipment that was brought back to Earth. Now, what does that mean for humanity and life on Earth? Because obviously, we are not used to these bugs. NASA scientists discovered living bugs on equipment brought back to Earth from the moon, in what some experts believe suggests that life could exist in space. Kindly support my Patreon channel since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. My Patreon channel will have 5 different videos from my YouTube channel every day. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. Under the Artemis program, 2 astronauts will return to the lunar surface by 2024, with the space agency's NASA's new discovery of pockets of water giving the opportunity to establish a permanent human base. It will be the first time humans have stepped foot on the moon since the termination of the Apollo project, following the heroics of Apollo 11, which saw the first 2 men, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, land on the moon. NASA sent their 6th crewed mission just months later. Now, Discovery Channel's NASA Unexpected Files reveals how astronauts Alan Beam and Pete Conrad returned to Earth with more than they expected. The narrator said Apollo 12's astronaut, Alan Bean and Pete Conrad, returned to Earth carrying an unexpected payload. Scientists and astronauts struggled to explain this mystery. The space historian Amma Shira Titil explained the missions the pair had been given. She said Apollo 12 was the second manned lunar landing mission, and one of its goals was to recover hardware from the Surveyor 3 probe that landed 2 years before them. They wanted to see what the lunar environment did to something that was exposed to the surface. Astronomer Seth Shostak detailed to viewers why NASA was interested in leaving hardware on the moon. He said it was the important experiment because if you're ever going to build a base on the moon, you need to know if dust will get into everything. Now, what about the fact that there is no air? What about the temperature? He said it's so important to know how your stuff will perform. But scientists back on Earth soon got another shock. The narrator explained 10 days later they returned, carrying with them the equipment recovered from Surveyor 3. When scientists examine the camera, they find something disturbing. They find something alive on the camera that's been on the surface of the moon for 2 years. NASA planetary scientist Chris McKay speculated during the series it could prove life exists off planet Earth. He said in 2016 the thought that the time was the space environment was too extreme for the possibility of life, that there was nothing that could survive. Soon our idea of how life spreads has to be reoriented based on this. It's not confined to planets. It's also found on moons and perhaps other bodies such as, I don't know, comets and asteroids. Now, the answer to the mystery was much simpler. John Rummel, chairman of the Committee on Space Research, later commented the claim that a microbe survived 2.5 years on the moon was flimsy, at best, even by the standards of the time. The Surveyor 3 team thought they had detected a microbe that had lived on the moon for all those years, but they only detected their own contamination. Studies showed the scientists analyzing the camera on return to Earth used procedures that were inadequate to prevent contamination. There may also have been possibilities for contamination during the return mission, as the camera was returned in a porous bag rather than an airtight container used for lunar sample returns. So obviously they didn't keep the purity of this sample. This is by Callum Hoare on Express UK. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support.